Hello, we ghosties. I'm Chance Lee.
And I'm Amanda McAvoy.
And this is That's So Gothic, a movie podcast about girls, guys, and haunted houses. Today we're looking for a live-in nanny for our large adult son, who's also a porcelain doll. This is The Boy.
We've had a number of potential nannies come through already. Do you think you can manage?
Of course.
I'm Malcolm.
Hi.
I'm the grocery boy. Well, grocery man.
Lead the way.
Allow me to introduce Mr. Hilscher. And this is our son, Brahms. Music gives him so much joy.
Brahms is not like other children. It is very important that you follow these rules. Be good to him and he'll be good to you.
No offense, Brahms, but you kind of creep me out.
You okay?
I needed someone else to see it.
See what?
If you leave him alone, then I'll give you a sign.
This is like some kind of magic trick, right?
It's not a trick. Tell me about the real Brahms.
He was downright strange.
A little girl from town used to come out here to play with Brahms.
They found her body in the woods.
By the time the police arrived, the place was up in flames.
Brahms didn't make it out.
Hello?
No one's been out there for years.
You wouldn't hurt me, would you, Brahms?
It's not safe in this house.
You don't understand what's happening. He's alive.
You will be good to him, won't you?
Released in 2016, The Boy was directed by William Brent Bell and written by Stacey Menear, man Stacey. It stars Lauren Cohan and Rupert Evans. Cohan plays a nanny to an elderly British couple's child who is a porcelain doll named Brahms, just like the composer. This movie has a 30% critical tomato and 38% audience tomato. I think this is one of the lowest reviewed films we've ever discussed.
Wow, so surprising.
I loved it. Just spoiler alert.
Yep.
So Christy Lemire for RogerEbert.com gave it 1.5 stars. Ooh. She also reviewed the 2018 Suspiria, so we've mentioned her before. And she says this movie, for the most part, can't decide whether to play it straight or to have fun with its outlandish premise along the lines of the ravishing Crimson Peak. There's a lot of That's So Gothic elements happening in this one review. She says that this film relies too heavily on jump scares, nightmare sequences, and general foreboding. And she says that the characters' reactions and dialogue make us laugh, but perhaps not knowingly. I disagree, and we'll get into that as we continue talking.
Yeah.
So this movie had a budget of $10 million, and it made $74 million worldwide. So that was enough to get a sequel.
Yep.
Brahms, The Boy 2, starring Katie Holmes. We will not be discussing that on this podcast because it is not Gothic.
No.
It takes a different twist. And if we do get into that, we'll give you a spoiler alert. But the reason I wanted to talk about this is because it's directed by William Brent Bell, director everybody seems to hate. All his movies are terribly reviewed.
Oh, no.
But he directed the new Orphan prequel.
Okay, yeah.
And Orphan is one of my favorite movies.
I also enjoyed it immensely.
And I wanted to make sure Esther was in good hands.
Yes.
So I was like, let me watch this movie, The Boy, which no one likes, and set my expectations for the Orphan prequel appropriately.
Oh, that's smart.
And then I loved The Boy.
Yeah.
Which was very unexpected.
Yeah.
Very unexpected.
I would like to know if William has children, because he has like a weird relationship with kids, apparently, then.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a kid in The Boy 2. There's an actual human child in that one who, I guess I'll give a little bit of The Boy 2. But he finds the Brahms doll after the events of the first movie.
Yeah.
But he is mute after a traumatic event.
Oh.
And so he is only communicating through the Brahms doll.
Oh.
And then they're not sure if it's him controlling the doll or is the doll controlling him and what's happening.
Yep.
So, but again, that movie is not Gothic because of some choices that it makes with its plot. We will not be discussing that here, but we are discussing The Boy. So let's get into our plot summary. Unless there's anything else you wanted to add about the overview here.
Do you think that The Boy and what is it called? The Orphan?
Just Orphan.
Just Orphan. I'm
Orphan.
so sorry.
That's okay.
Do you think
Just
they're in the
Orphan.
same cinematic
Same
universe?
cinematic universe. Like, could Esther if Esther went to England instead, could she have found this doll?
Right.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
I like to imagine it's in the same cinematic universe.
I want a Esther Brahms crossover.
Team up.
The dream couple is Esther and Brahms.
Yes, absolutely.
Brahms might be a little too young for Esther, though.
That's true.
Esther's always hot for daddy.
That is so true.
Once you watch Orphan, the new one, Orphan First Kill, you realize Esther's still on brand.
Oh man,
they've got a hot daddy in that one too, and I'm kind of rooting for him a little bit.
Right.
So yeah, Brahms might be a little young.
Yeah.
But I don't know what time frame we're talking.
That's
so
true.
Maybe there's some time issues.
That's very true. Maybe they are, closer in age, or he's older.
Yeah, he could be old. If it's modern day,
right?
He might be old. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
But I would love to see that happen. If they can do Freddie and Jason, we can have Esther and Brahms.
Yeah, Orphan 3. The Boy is back.
Orphan Boy 3. It's the third in both of them.
Yes.
Bring them together.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Wow. Give us a call, Willie.
Yes. We'd be happy to be consultants on
absolutely.
this as Boy Orphan super fans. So he was a great choice.
Yes.
This movie is fantastic. So we start with our girl.
Yep.
As you know, listeners, we ghosties. All Gothic films have 4 elements: a girl, a guy, a haunt, and a house. So we'll point those out as we go through our plot summary. So our girl is Greta Evans, played by Lauren Cohan. She's asleep in a cab while the driver's staring at her boobs.
Yep.
This will be a motif throughout this movie.
Yep.
She enters this gorgeous house and she takes her shoes off. She explores the house. And we see a painting of the family on the landing. I don't think we're quite sure why she's there yet at this point. Or maybe she tells the cab driver.
Yeah.
But she's going to be the nanny for this family's son. So there's a man and a woman and this kind of creepy looking child. Huge painting. There's some really good establishing shots of the interior of this house. There's a lot of taxidermied animals.
Yep.
Shots of her reflection in the eyes of the animals. She's always being watched by things both inanimate and maybe not.
Ooh, good point.
She gets frightened by the cute grocer.
Adorable.
Malcolm.
Yep.
He's very cute. He's the one played by what was his name? I had never seen him before.
No,
Rupert
neither.
Evans.
Yeah.
Not
very British name.
And he's just very
Rupert.
British.
Yes, he's very British man.
He's very British. What does he say? He says, "Can you believe it? I'm considered charming in this country."
Yeah.
Because he's trying to flirt with her, and she's just not having it.
Yeah.
Because he takes her chewing gum out of her mouth, which is a little weird.
Like immediately. Ladies, if you meet a man and one of the first things he does is take the chewing gum right out of your mouth, that might be a red flag.
Yes, it's a little too much.
Yeah.
It's his flirty way. He says he reads gum like tea leaves.
Yes.
And he tells her that he jokes that she has this dark past.
Yes.
But then by her reaction, clearly he's on to something.
Yes.
So she changes the subject and she's like, "What is Brahms like?" That's the boy.
Yeah.
Literally, the titular boy. And Malcolm says he's not sure how to explain it. And then Mrs. Hillshire appears. She's kind of like Judi Dench by way of B. Arthur, I think.
Yeah.
She really cracks me up.
Yes.
Her delivery and everything, she's great.
Yeah.
The first thing she says is, "Where are your shoes?"
Yes.
And the shoes are missing. And so the mom says that Brahms took them because he's very playful.
Yes.
And then they decide to introduce her to Brahms, who is a porcelain doll, who kind of looks like Jared Kushner.
Yep.
He's just in a bed, not moving.
Yep.
And Greta laughs.
Yes.
And they look at her like, bitch, do not laugh at our son.
Yes. So rude.
And she realizes they're serious. And Malcolm comes in, ever the British gentleman, and like says hi to Brahms and talks to him to break this tension. So Greta buys into it because she wants this job. Because they're going to be paying her a lot of money, we learn.
And she gets to stay in this beautiful house.
The house is so nice.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the house at the after the plot summary. There's a lot to say about this house. And so she says, Brahms, I hope we'll be friends. Very sweet. But then Mrs. Hillshire says that he rejected all of the applicants, but they weren't as young and pretty as her. Ooh. So, a little strange. Yep. And then she asks her to wake up Brahms. And Greta's like, wake up, Brahms. And she goes, I don't know about you, but that sure wouldn't wake me. And then, so she has to go through like this long list of expectations. Basically, she has to read to him very loudly. Yep. They have to play music very loudly. And then there's some other weird, like they keep all their food in a big freezer. Yeah. And the mom is very paranoid that rats are going to get into the walls. So they have these rat traps set up outside.
She has to go and clean out the rat traps. Yeah.
Yes, she goes with Mr. Hillshire to clean out the rat traps. Yep. And he kind of explains it to her how this happened. And I really liked his quote that it was little by little and then all at once. And I thought that was a really good quote.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And he tells her, he says, our son is here. He's very much with us. Which ends up being some foreshadowing. They do a little prayer with Brahms at the end. God bless Mommy. God bless Daddy. God bless Greta. And God bless me. And then they're like, Greta, can you excuse us? We need to talk to Brahms privately. Yeah. And they shut her out in the hallway. Yeah. And then they say, well, he's chosen you, which is great. And we learn, then she has this phone friend that she calls. Yep. We never see the friend. No. Do we hear her? We hear her.
We do hear her talking, yeah.
And we learn a little bit about, she had an abusive boyfriend that she's fleeing. And so the next morning, they give her a list of rules that she must abide by. And then they leave. Yeah. And she immediately covers Brahms with the blanket and like makes a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and drinks wine.
And she's done.
Doesn't even get into it.
Yes. Have you heard the phrase quietly quitting? It's like very popular right now. That's what she did.
Yes.
She said, I'm getting paid and that's all I'm doing.
Yes. And she just reads a book and drinks wine by this gorgeous bay window.
Of course.
So let's go over the rules, okay? So these are the 10 rules you must abide by. And I want you to think, if you were in this job, okay, 1, what rule do you think you'd break first? Okay. And 2, how long before you'd stop? Okay. Because I actually think I'd go with it for a bit.
I absolutely would. And I can talk on this more, but I am a huge list person. And I will sometimes make lists of things I know I'm going to accomplish just to feel good about checking them off.
I like that.
So why wouldn't I just, you're alone in this house. You got nothing else to do. Of course I would do all of this stuff. I would have such a great feeling of accomplishment. If it was a real kid, I'd probably quit sooner. I mean, like, you're on your own. Yes. Yeah. But absolutely.
Well, I'd be afraid. What if this is what if they have cameras? What if they have a nanny cam?
Yes.
What if this is a prank show or something? Like, I would just be like, I've just got to do this for as long as I can.
Yeah.
And the rules are pretty simple. Yes. So rule 1, no guests. 2, never leave Brahms alone. Right. 3, save meals in freezer. 4, never cover Brahms' face, which is funny. 5, read a bedtime story. Yeah. 6, play music loud. 7, clean the traps. 8, only Malcolm brings deliveries. 9, Brahms is never to leave. And 10, kiss goodnight.
Kiss goodnight.
Very sweet.
Love that.
So how long do you think you do this?
Well, so I know immediately what the first one I would break would be, and it'd probably be very soon, and it would be Malcolm only doing deliveries, because I would be on, what is it? Ordering food.
Yes.
Just immediately.
Yes. Whatever.
Yeah.
Do they have DoorDash in England?
Yeah, do they have DoorDash? I would be ordering DoorDash.
Yes.
I mean, Malcolm, I'm sorry, but are you bringing me McDonald's? Are you bringing me Longhorn Steakhouse?
That's true.
Yeah.
Is he a good shopper? That's what I want to know.
I guess maybe if he would do all the things I, would need.
If
Target deliver, Amazon.
If Malcolm was your Instacart shopper,
right,
would Malcolm make appropriate substitutes? That's what I want to know.
Good question. I don't know. I don't know if I would trust him enough. He'd just buy packs of gum.
And they're not big on peanut butter in England.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Okay.
And because I remember, they have a lot of what is the, it's not Nutella, but speculoos, that cookie butter.
Yeah.
So I think they like that.
Okay.
More than our British listeners can
chime
write in and let us know. But I really like that she brought peanut butter.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, Malcolm, you've got to find me some peanut butter
yes,
and bring
lots
it in.
of peanut butter. Do they have Costco's in England?
Yes.
I would need Costco-sized peanut butter.
Yes.
Yeah, that would absolutely be the first rule I break, and I'd probably break it pretty soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
If I'm home alone, I'm ordering some sort of takeout delivery.
I think mine, it would either be never leave Brahms alone or no guests. I would need some company.
That's true.
I guess it depends on how well Malcolm and I hit it off.
Yeah, that's true.
But I would need some company or to go for a walk or something without putting Brahms in a stroller.
Does Brahms have to be there when she's in the bathroom? I know there's a scene of her in the bathroom, but I think it's before she starts taking him.
Yeah,
everywhere.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because I think I think they probably just leave him in a chair and play music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I could not take him in the bathroom with me. That would be way too much.
That would be too much.
That
We have, I have some, there's some families where I work at the library, and sometimes they'll all go in the bathroom together.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's too much. My dog follows me into the bathroom all the time. I'm like, please, I can't handle this pressure.
This is why I don't have pets.
Yeah.
So she falls asleep. She drinks the wine, passes out.
Yep.
Great first day on the job. She wakes up. The blanket has fallen off. And she puts him in his room. She does not kiss him goodnight. So I think she's basically broken almost all of the rules on the first day.
Pretty much.
She hasn't had a guest, but she left him alone.
Yep.
She does at some point scrape her food into the garbage can. She does not put it in the freezer.
I didn't notice that.
She covers his face. She does not read him a story. She does not play music loud. She may or may not have cleaned the traps. And she does not kiss him goodnight.
Ridiculous.
So she has this scary candle-filled dream with a jump scare.
Yep.
Which usually jump scares do not affect me, and I screamed
Really?
at least twice during this movie.
Oh my god. I don't think I did, but that's
the hand. Yeah. It's clearly coming.
Yeah.
And the hand comes out of the painting and grabs her, and I screamed. So the Roger Ebert critic Christy Lemire, she criticized these scares.
Right.
But I'm going to share a nightmare with you that I've had in real life.
Okay.
So I have some good friends who, for a while, their mother was living with them. She was in pretty advanced stages of dementia.
Okay.
And they were really struggling to care for her. And then this is a married couple. Both of them have parents that are in differentiating stages of dementia.
Oh, no.
Very challenging. So they were going to visit one parent.
Right.
And they asked me to kind of mom sit.
Okay.
As the other parent, which I was definitely not qualified for in
that's
retrospect.
a lot of pressure.
And it was a lot of pressure and very stressful.
Yes.
And so at night, I had a dream that she skittered up the stairs like a spider and that she was crouched at the foot of my bed and saying my name. So,
Are you positive this was a dream? I am so scared for you.
So then I woke up and I'm half asleep and she actually is at the foot of the stairs, but she is calling my name.
Holy shit.
So I woke up screaming, and then I hear her calling my name, and I'm like, I'll be right down.
Oh my god.
I'll be right down.
That is the most horrifying thing.
So I after that happened,
Yeah.
I'm like, these jump scares in movies where it's like it's a dream.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little cheap, but
Yep.
you know what? I also have been there.
I have definitely had, because I actually have sleep paralysis every now and then.
Oh, that's
and
tough.
Whoo, my God, yeah, you wake up in a cold sweat.
Yes.
Oh, my God. But also, I'd like to make a note. So, anyone in the New England area, I bought this movie, The Boy, on Blu-ray, and the cashier who rung me out said that he liked it because there weren't jump scares. So, take that, Robert and Ebert.
Okay.
Yeah, Robert Ebert.
There's
whatever.
only 2, I think.
Yeah.
And it doesn't rely on them.
It doesn't rely on them. I think that's the important thing.
I feel like The Conjuring is all loud music and jump scares
is.
constantly.
Yeah.
And this, I think there's only 2 because I screamed at both of them.
Yes.
But mostly it's moody and
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
And if we haven't talked about it, the acting in this movie is very good.
I think it's wonderful.
Especially from the lead.
I like Lauren Cohan. She was in Supernatural, the
Oh,
show.
okay.
And she had a god awful British accent.
Oh, no.
Which is so funny because when I saw she was in this movie, I didn't think of it at first, but then as the movie progressed and there was more and more British people, I went, thank God they didn't try to get her to be British because, oh my God, it was so bad. But she's wonderful.
I wonder if she was supposed to be British because
They saw
it
that.
kind of doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
She's living in the United States.
Yep.
How does she find out this job and get this job?
Right.
Well, I guess she is interviewing for it, but
Yeah.
like internationally?
To be fair, like I've had, rough obviously she's going through things much worse than I have, but like I've had rough days where I've looked at jobs in other countries.
Okay.
So
I guess okay.
I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only wanted to like teach English in Thailand
Yeah.
or something. So she wakes up from this scary dream and she hears crying, or does she?
Yeah.
It's like you never know. And then she goes in and Brahms has this tear on his cheek.
Beautiful.
But it turns out it's a leak.
Yeah.
Probably from this mysterious attic space that won't open. She starts getting some creepy phone calls. Yeah. Malcolm returns and he decides to show Greta the real Brahms's grave. We learn that he was a real boy who died in a house fire at 8 years old, and they replaced him with a doll.
Yeah. I think the doll just showed up, didn't he? Or that's kind of how they explain it. But maybe he didn't actually in retrospect, and we'll get into that. But I think he says something about how the doll just kind of appeared one day.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. That might tie into where they take this in the second one.
Yes.
Maybe they were planting some seeds. But she says to Malcolm, she goes, oh, he'd be about your age.
Yes.
Did you ever think they were the same? Like, he might have been Brahms or something?
100%.
Yeah?
And I literally, because I think I texted you how I was so mad because up until the big reveal at the end, and I'll save that, I didn't like this movie because I thought I had figured it all out, and I was so proud of myself. I was also so happy because every time you recommend me a movie, I always love it. And this was the first time where I was like, yes, I can finally say I didn't like it, because like I feel like I'm just like a yes man, you know what I mean? Like every time you recommend me a movie, I'm like, he can't keep believing that I love all these movies, but. So I thought I had figured it out. I thought he was, Brahms. I thought he was the delivery man because they, that's how he kind of still stayed involved in their lives, all of this. I thought I had figured it out. And I don't know if it was supposed to be, a red herring. Maybe it was. What's your opinion on that?
I wasn't sure either.
Yeah.
'Cause, we'll get to when she gets locked in the attic later and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I 100% believed it was him pretty much until the reveal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I love that.
Yes.
I love that.
I was so proud of myself.
So she, and I wonder if she doesn't, I can't tell if she suspects it or not, but, because he does invite her out to dinner, even though she's not supposed to leave.
Right.
And so she decides to go. And we get a little like male gazy. She's getting ready in just like a t-shirt and panties.
Right.
The Brahms doll is kind of watching
Just
her.
like,
We have to mention the doll never moves.
No.
Never moves on camera. This isn't like we see it twitching or
No.
blinking. The doll never moves.
No.
And then she goes to take a shower, and like there's this first person camera POV to disguise who it is, but someone steals her clothes.
Yeah.
And she gets out of the shower. She notices a lock of her hair is missing. And so she spends a lot of time just like in a towel. Because all of her clothes are gone when she returns to the room. And then the mysterious attic stairs are down. So she goes up there. She does arm herself, which there's this pull hook. She like pull the attic door down, so she has that, but she is still just in a towel. And then, of course, the stairs.
That's exactly what it sounded like, too. Wow.
They come up and lock her in. And so, like, she sees Malcolm trying to pick her up for her date.
Yeah.
And this is I love this movie. There do seem to be a lot of plot holes.
Yes.
Because it's like, dude, like you clearly have a key. Why didn't you come with your key?
Right.
You let yourself in and deliver groceries.
Exactly.
All the time.
Right.
And he chooses this moment to just like get back in his car
wait
and
leave.
and
just
where else would she be?
Exactly. Right.
She has no vibrant social life.
Right. Yeah. She has no car. She was dropped off with a cab.
That's true. She can't go anywhere.
She literally can go nowhere.
Yes.
Like, you should at least be worried about her.
Yes. And he just leaves.
He just leaves.
And then she like gets scared by a mannequin. She falls over, hits her head. And then so in the morning she finds a photo album.
Yep.
It has pictures of the real boy in it. But then like the ladder falls open.
Yeah.
So she goes back to her room. Her clothes are conveniently back. Malcolm returns and she's telling him what's going on. They're playing billiards.
Yep.
And they have this interesting conversation where they talk about what the town would say about Brahms and how there's polite talk and pub talk.
Pub talk. I love that.
I really liked that too.
Yeah.
And so he says the truth is somewhere in between. But basically Brahms was kind of a weirdo.
Yeah.
And they don't really get into it yet.
Right.
What he really would do. Meanwhile, Phone a Friend reveals that her abusive ex, Cole, somehow has her address.
Yeah.
This is another reason I'm like, maybe she was supposed to be British. Because again, he's in America.
Yes.
Like, how would he get this address and then, because he's going to show up later.
Yes. Yeah, I wasn't going to mention, but it's so bizarre when he shows up. He's in the house. It is so bizarre.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, she clearly never locks these doors. So
No.
I don't know how Malcolm wasn't able to just come in.
Right.
So she has another jump scare dream, but then she wakes up and her shoes are outside the bedroom door. The shoes that have been missing since her first visit. And the Brahms doll is sitting up in bed with the rules next to him.
Yes.
Like, you broke the rules. So she locks herself in her room. And this part's really creepy. Like the phone rings and it's like, come play with me, Greta. Why won't you follow the rules?
Yes. Yeah.
And there's footsteps outside the door and she's trapped in this room. And then like she opens the door and there's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich there.
Yeah, it's just so nice.
And then all of a sudden, like, she just buys into this completely.
Yes. Yep.
But we do find out later that, like, she lost a child.
Yeah.
And I think that really explains why.
She's so eager to believe that this child is real and interacting with her.
And needs her care.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we, like, flash to the adult, the parents. They're on vacation. But then they, like... They like Kate Chopin themselves.
Yes.
You know that short story where the woman just like goes into the water and drowns?
Because like I don't want to be insensitive, but that feels like a very British way of committing suicide.
Yes,
because I'm pretty sure that's how Virginia Woolf killed herself.
Oh yeah,
too,
in real life.
Put rocks in her. Also, the rocks that were on the beach for this couple, so conveniently placed. They were like the exact same size, like right next to each other. Very, very British way of going.
Yeah,
you know?
They put the rocks in their pockets and they just wander into the water and drown.
Into their like cardigan pockets.
Yes.
Very British.
Yes. Yeah. We love a cardigan with rocks in it.
We love a cardigan with rocks.
But they wrote a letter to Brahms first.
Right.
And it mentions that like they're never coming back.
Yep.
The girl is yours now. Very creepy.
Yeah.
And then off they go. So back at the house, we see Greta. Now she's like following all these rules to a T. She's reading to him. She's playing music. She still won't kiss him goodnight. She plays Brahms's lullaby, the actual lullaby, on the piano, the piano. And that's the song where like, sometimes it's music, but sometimes they play it with lyrics. So it's like, go to sleep.
Right.
I don't know the lyrics. Go to sleep, little baby,
yeah.
do-do-do, go to sleep, go to
Clearly.
sleep.
That is incredibly soothing.
So, but yeah, so that's the real Brahms composer's
Right.
lullaby.
Yes.
And she is carrying him around
Yep.
like she's Celine Dion and he's like an Ann Geddes baby. Like, do you remember Celine Dion? I only thought of this because I Googled Brahms' lullaby and the
Yeah.
first thing that popped up was that album Celine Dion did.
Oh my god, I remember that.
With like, and she's like holding, Celine Dion's like dressed as flowers and like holding these babies. Like,
Why is that such a core memory?
right? I worked at a used bookstore at the time.
Yeah.
We had this huge coffee table book of like all of the Ann Geddes
yes.
photos of Celine Dion and like babies dressed as bumblebees and stuff. Like,
Yes, the baby has a bumblebee. I'm pretty sure my aunt had that framed on a wall.
Yes.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that could be That could be the Boy 3 too. Like Ann Geddes
Yes.
is sent to photograph a baby, but it's Brahms.
It's a Cabbage Patch Kid.
Oh my god! And they're like, "This is our son."
This is our son.
And she has to take it seriously. Does she still like? I feel like she was around for that brief moment in time.
Oh my god.
So Malcolm wants to take her out, but she's like, "Nope, following the rules
Can't
now.
go.
I'm staying with Brahms."
Yep.
And he tries to be like, "No, Brahms wants a break." He gives Brahms a little high five.
Yeah.
And it makes that little tink noise.
Yes.
And I don't know if it had happened before this, but that sound effect is when I bought into this movie 100%. Because I was like, they did not have to put a noise there. they did not have to put a noise there. But they put this little tink and like, and I was like, I'm in. I'm committed. And that's when I have to disagree with that critic.
Yes.
The movie doesn't know if it's funny or campy or not. They know exactly what they're doing.
Was this movie nominated for like best sound mixing? It
really
should have been.
It
should have been.
It should have been.
For
It's
that
the
moment.
greatest sound effect. And I was just like, I'm in on this. And so meanwhile, so she's like desperate to make the doll move.
Yes.
And he does start moving when she's not looking. So
Mm-hmm.
she calls Malcolm back. And she like draws this chalk outline around it. And they spend a lot of time in Brahms's room, and we'll get into this later, but he has a lot of fun decorations. A lot of like creepy old-fashioned toys.
Yeah.
There's also this painting of a monkey in human clothes on the wall,
Yep.
which I will be talking about. But so she, like, they draw the chalk outline around Brahms. They leave the room.
Yep.
They knock on the wall. And then they hear, like, scuttling.
Yes.
And they go back in, and the doll is gone.
Yes.
He's moved to the radiator. And her reaction, he's never been there before.
Yeah. So she's done this before.
Priceless. And it's just so, I mean, honestly, it's ridiculous, but like believable.
Right.
It's like I'm with her.
Yes.
Here.
But I suspected Malcolm even more because, that's weird. And like, if I saw that, I'd be like, oh, that's crazy. But I would immediately try to rationalize it. That one thing, he was like, yep, that's a ghost boy.
Yeah, that's true.
That one's a ghost boy.
Yeah. They do believe very quickly.
They do.
And yeah, so they go for a walk.
Yeah.
And she says that it's the spirit of a boy.
Mm-hmm.
This is when she reveals that her ex Cole punched her in the stomach and caused a miscarriage.
Yeah.
And then like they smooch. Her and Malcolm smooch.
Yeah.
She's ready to rebound. So that night she tucks Brahms in, she gives him a little kiss. Little kiss, but then she goes back to Malcolm, gives him a little kiss. But then like we get the first person POV of Brahms or somebody watching through the keyhole.
Right.
And then like lights come on, music starts blaring. Yes. So they run downstairs and the Brahms doll is down there listening to music. So that's when Malcolm decides to finally tell her the real story, which is that the real Brahms, who was 8, crushed a young girl's skull. or they suspected he
Yeah.
did. And when the police were going to question them, the house was on fire, and Brahms didn't make it out. And he suggests that this Brahms is a bad spirit. And they do this really cool thing the director does where while they're talking, we cut to the Brahms doll laying motionless in bed and hear their muffled speech.
So Brahms can hear him.
Yes.
Yep.
But she doesn't believe it. She's going to stay. So she does tuck him in, and then she goes and she looks through the photo album.
Right.
She sees the photo of him and this girl that was murdered. And we get this great transition. She's looking at it, and there's the photo of the real boy, and it just seamlessly fades into Brahms, the doll's face. What a great transition. So the next day, though, she hears billiards being played, pool balls. And she thinks it's Malcolm, but it's her abuser, Cole.
Yes.
He's randomly showed up.
Yep.
He tries to convince her to leave. Malcolm lets himself in. So Malcolm and Greta go off to talk.
Yeah.
And Cole taps Brahms' head and does the tink again.
Yeah. Stop tinking him.
Does the tink again. Cole catches them chatting and is
Yep.
getting jealous. Should I be worried about this cute gardener or grocer?
Yep.
So she assures Brahms that night that she won't leave him. She's like laying in bed with the doll saying, Brahms, I won't leave you.
Yeah.
But someone writes "Get Out" in rat blood on the wall above Cole.
Oh, is that rat blood?
They show these three
I
dead
didn't notice
rats
that
like
part.
split second
Yeah.
after that. So it's the blood from these rats.
Fun.
And it's dripping on his face.
Hell yeah.
And she hears him screaming, and
Yep.
she wakes up and Brahms is gone.
Yeah.
And of course he's in the room. So he thinks she did it.
Yep.
Then Malcolm shows up and he thinks Malcolm did it.
Yeah.
He's like, who's fucking with me here?
Yeah.
And, you know, nobody knows what's going on at this point.
Seriously.
So it's just chaos.
Yeah.
And then Cole makes the big mistake to take the doll, swing it in this arc through the air, and smash its head open on a chair.
Yeah.
Which may be one of the greatest practical effects I've ever seen in a movie. The way it explodes
Incredible.
perfectly.
Yes.
Like this porcelain dust and shards, and the way the eyeballs separate and roll off the chair. Like
Right.
I wonder how many heads did they smash?
I know, right?
To get this shot.
Yeah,
'Cause
or if they were just so lucky on the first one.
It's so good. Yeah. And then Greta's very upset because again she believes this is like the soul of a lost child.
Right.
And then like there's rumbling in the walls.
Yeah.
Lights are flickering. Paintings start shaking. They're like, so Malcolm obviously thinks the evil spirit is awoken.
Yeah.
Greta has no idea what's going on. And then Cole is like, it's behind this mirror.
Yeah.
And then the mirror explodes, flings him across the room.
So good.
And then we see a silhouette of a person in the wall, and a hand comes out, and like this large adult son in a Brahms mask comes out. But like he's still talking like a child.
Yeah.
Greta. Like it's so creepy.
Yes.
But we also have to say he's also really hot.
Yeah. Oh my God.
He's got this like
fine man.
I don't like the term wife beater, but he has the undershirt on.
Yep.
This hairy chest. Very fit.
Yeah.
And then this beard
Yep.
that's like growing out from behind the mask. But then there's the weird child voice coming out.
Yeah.
Play with me, Greta.
Not great.
So this man comes out of the walls.
Incredible.
Stabs Cole in the throat with a shard from the doll head, which is brilliant. Kills him. Then we get into this like extended chase sequence. There's a lot of running.
Yeah.
But then they find Brahms's creepy room where they realize that Brahms lived as a child. He lived through this fire.
Yep.
The parents have kept him in the walls.
Yes. Yep.
And used this like doll as a surrogate.
Yep.
That's why they save the food. That's why they kill the rats to keep them from getting into the wall. That's why they do everything loud.
Yes, so you can hear it.
And so not only that though, but he has made a doll with her dress on it in his bed. And she finds the letter saying that the parent said she's yours now.
Yeah.
She understandably freaks out.
Yes. She's honestly kept it kind of level-headed up until this point.
Yes.
And that was the moment.
Which it finally clicks for her what's going on. She's
Yeah.
like, oh my God. And she realizes he's been watching her this whole time.
Yep.
He's been watching her in the shower.
Yep.
He's been watching everything she's been doing.
Stole the clothes.
So Brahms is in the walls
Someone's
here.
in our walls, yeah.
So again, the chase resumes. He knocks out Malcolm, and then like his child voice becomes more threatening.
Yeah, it does.
The more he starts yelling at her, and he threatens to kill Malcolm if she leaves.
Yep.
But so she runs away, but then she goes back. And then she I guess she's realized Brahms has this kind of like mommy fetish because she goes in and starts like sternly yelling at him.
Yes.
Like, Brahms, it is your bedtime.
Yeah, knock it off.
And he's like very like, oh, okay.
Sorry.
And so he puts her in bed, but he's like, good night kiss. Good night kiss.
Yeah.
And she does not want to kiss Brahms, even though I kiss Brahms.
Yeah.
But so she leans in to kiss him, and she has a screwdriver or something.
Yeah.
Jams it in him.
Hell yeah.
And they get in this big fight.
Yep.
And she knocks him out. Breaks off the mask.
Yeah.
We see his face is burned. And she saves Malcolm, and they escape. And then we return to the house, and we see Brahms repairing the head of the doll. The end.
The end.
All right. Oh, roller coaster.
Yes.
Did I miss anything in that plot summary?
I think you nailed it.
Okay. All right. So we're going to take a brief break. We'll be back with our Gothic recap, and we will decide, is it Gothic? Okay, we ghosties, we are back with our Gothic recap. All Gothic films have 4 qualities: a girl, a guy, a haunt, and a house. Our girl, of course, is Greta. Greta. Great name.
Yeah.
Our guy this time and our haunt,
Yes.
I think, are both Brahms.
I would
what
agree.
do you think?
I would agree, yeah.
Because she even says when she thinks it's a spirit,
Yep.
that this is her calling. She's been called to care for this child.
Yeah.
And in a Gothic film, there is usually a romantic angle with the guy.
Yep.
Unfortunately, in this case, we learn that there is.
Yes.
One-sided without her consent.
Yes.
But
yeah.
that falls into the Gothic tropes, I think.
Right. And you could argue too that like her calling to do it is romantic in the like literature sense of, you know.
That's true. A familial love.
Yeah.
She loves this child.
Right.
And even though, and we spend a lot of the movie thinking this is a typical haunted doll story.
Yeah.
And then we learn that it's an actual person in the walls of this house. Anything you want to add to those before we get to the house?
I don't think so. I don't think I have a lot to say.
So the house, though, is gorgeous.
So beautiful.
The Roger Ebert reviewer, Christy Lemire, says that it's like something out of every Gothic horror movie you've ever seen. And I'm like, oh,
Thank you, Christy.
This is why I love it.
Right.
This is why I love it. So this is actually called Craigdarroch Castle.
Oh.
It sounds Scottish, but it's in Ontario, Canada.
Oh, okay.
It's also was in the Winona Ryder Little Women movie, I guess, which I haven't seen since that was on HBO in like the 90s. So one thing I really want to talk about is this painting of a monkey in human clothing that is hanging in Brahms's room. And I was trying to find a picture of it. And I found out this is like a thing called singerie. Singerie. It's a French phrase which literally means monkey trick.
Incredible.
And this article by Laura Thippelwong on Arts Help explained this to me. So she writes that dating back in ancient Egypt and peaking in popularity in Western Europe in the 16th and 17th century, the singerie is a subgenre of satirical art that depicts monkeys wearing human clothes and mimicking human behavior. So in the 16th and 17th centuries, the 16th century, this was just light comedy. Like, look at what these monkeys are doing.
Right.
And then in the 17th century, it started being done for satirical purposes.
Right.
Like, who's the monkey?
Yeah,
more satire. And then post-Darwinism, they started doing it as meta-commentary.
Yeah.
Like, what if monkeys actually could do this as our, genetic predecessors? So this got me thinking, was this just an interesting prop?
Yeah.
Or are they making some sort of commentary about
connection.
Brahms being in the wall and, like, living vicariously through this doll?
Oh, my God.
It's barely in a shot for a second, and it sent me down this rabbit hole.
I think everything was chosen for a reason. I could see...
The set design of this movie is fantastic.
It's so good.
I do believe a lot of the interior shots were on a sound stage.
Yeah.
I don't think they were shot in this house.
Right.
But the set design is great. I really loved Brahms's bedspread.
I don't remember it. What is it?
So it's this red, like woven... I hesitate to say quilt, just like a big blanket, but it's Western themed. So it has cowboy boots, there's a cowboy hat, there's horses,
How did I not
there's a little
notice
sign that
that?
says square dance on it. It's
That is so cute.
it's very cute.
Aww.
And so they always have him tucked under that in the bed.
I never noticed that. Guess I'll have to rewatch it.
It's red and white.
Oh my God.
He has a violin. He has a
Yeah.
lot of ugly wooden dolls.
Yeah,
and there's
yeah.
of course the piano.
Right.
Was there anything in the house that stood out to you?
Well, you know what I was kind of thinking about after the movie ended was I wish that they had included some mention of like where the fire was, if it damaged any, because everything that we see seems to be like original, so I would have been more interested if we had actually seen some remnants of the fire or something.
That's true.
But then, who knows? I mean, we could really overthink it and be like, well, maybe the fire was really bad and, maybe it burned up the, what's the word, of stuff behind walls?
The insulation.
The insulation.
Yeah.
That's why the walls are hollow now. Who knows?
That's true.
Yeah. Or like maybe the fire was also a ruse to get a contractor in to then build these tunnels in his little room and stuff. So
right. What if the fire was just contained to a room?
Yeah. And then, I don't know. Again, this is just hearsay, but maybe the dad was really good with his hands. He built all of this up.
Well, he did do all the rat traps and stuff.
That's true.
And they're very self-sufficient.
Yeah.
They have Malcolm come in, but it doesn't seem like... Well, they obviously don't get out much because they won't leave him alone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wonder what they were like as parents.
I mean, they did have this demon child. It's not that you
That's
can always
true.
blame the parents.
Right.
But, I mean, you can kind of blame
I can kind of blame
parents.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, I am really curious
Yeah.
about that.
Right. They obviously, love him, but...
How old do you think... Do we know how old Brahms is? I think his gravestone tells us.
Well, I mean, and I guess, too, you could say that he must be the same age as Malcolm.
Oh, as Malcolm.
Yeah,
that's
and he
right.
can't be older than, 30, I would say. Or
Right.
maybe just over 30 or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, he's been living in the walls for
a very
long time. What do you think made the parents, do you think there was one thing that just made them be like, this is it, we're done?
Well, I think my theory is that he killed that girl.
Yeah.
And then they have to cover up the mistakes of their, small son.
Yeah.
Who will eventually be a large adult son.
Yes.
But they have to cover up his mistakes.
Yeah.
So they burned him and hid him in the walls.
Yeah. But I mean...
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay.
You're like, yeah, that's obvious.
Yeah, God. What do you think made them do the calling Greta and having her come in and then them kill themselves?
I think they're just sick of it. Maybe
think so?
Maybe
Yeah.
there's a guilt.
Yeah.
Because they have been keeping him imprisoned for
Right.
so long. And maybe if they leave and bring
Yeah.
her in, then I don't know, they just let it happen. He can take over. And,
right. Yeah, I was wondering if maybe it's they just knew they were getting up in age and God forbid they both died around the same time. Someone would come in and
they could abandon the house and leave him there.
Right.
And then I guess, if Brahms dragged Greta into his secret sex lair in the walls, would Malcolm just keep being like, yodi-dodi-do, and dropping off groceries?
I am very curious.
Honestly,
what
he
their
probably
long plan.
would. He's a little dippy.
Yes.
So,
I was kind of curious what their long-term plan was,
Yeah.
but maybe they didn't have one.
I don't think they had one.
They were just sick of it.
Frankly, I don't think the scriptwriter had one. But I still
Which is
love
fine.
it.
It's
I know.
still
It's
good.
still so much fun.
It's so much fun.
I do think, like we said, it's intentionally campy.
Yeah.
There's so many shots. They cut to the doll so much.
Yes. Like, way more.
Yes. And I mean, he's never moving. It's just
No,
a doll
it's just a
sitting
doll.
there. I love it.
I feel like you see the doll more in this movie than you do in, like, any of the Annabelle movies.
Yes.
Like, he is more of a character than I would say Annabelle is.
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
Yes, we know a lot about Brahms.
Yeah.
And also, you know, we talked about Esther earlier.
Yep.
Horny for daddy.
Of course.
Brahms is horny for mommy.
Yeah.
So there'd be some interesting dynamics between the two of them.
I really think it would be like we should really get them to do like some sort of Justice League team up, like him, Orphan, Esther.
Yes.
Who else could be a part of that? I mean, I guess they could throw in Annabelle.
I don't know. I've never actually seen an Annabelle movie.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. Because I didn't like The Conjuring.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Is Annabelle Gothic?
I remember not liking the first one. The second one's actually pretty good. That's like sort of the prequel. And I saw a lot of they tied it in a lot to like Rosemary's Baby.
Oh.
So it was actually pretty enjoyable.
That'd be a good one. Stay tuned, we ghosties.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do Rosemary's Baby.
We should just do a whole doll series.
That'd be fun, yeah.
That'd be really fun.
So, back to this doll. Sorry, got a sidetrack there. We do have bonus gothics. Bonus gothics are typically romantic rival, incest. We have a few others we've added, like a panano, which is Benedict Cumberbatch for piano. There's definitely a panano in this one.
Yes.
Plays Brahms' lullaby.
Yeah.
And then all three men are romantic rivals. Willing or not, they're all rivaling for her, whether she wants it or not.
Right.
Because we have Malcolm, the cute, corny grocer. We have the word barmy just popped into my head, which I think is British for goofy. Cole, the abusive ex, and then Brahms, the adult man. So fuck, marry, kill. Malcolm, Brahms, Cole.
Ooh, really good. Okay. Fuck Brahms. Marry Malcolm, kill Cole.
Done. That's the only. That's the only way. That's the only good answer.
Way. Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Honestly, there's part of me that wants this movie to end with her continuing. There's a different ending where she continues to buy into it.
Yes.
And like teams up with Brahms.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
Sometimes a family is a woman, a grocer, and a adult-sized man living in the walls.
They can totally have a throuple.
And a porcelain doll.
Yes.
That's my perfect, you know, get out of here with your heteronormity. Like that is the new American dream.
That's what I want to see if The Boy is ever remade, where she just buys into it 100%. So we've discussed our girl, guy, haunt, and house, and our bonus gothic. So what do you think? Is it gothic?
I would say yeah.
Absolutely.
It's gothic.
Absolutely. That's what really enticed me into this movie.
Yeah.
I was not expecting this.
Yep.
I was not expecting what is basically a traditional gothic horror film.
Right.
We think back to Jane Eyre,
Yeah,
Woman in the
Attic.
Attic. We've got The Man in the Walls.
Yeah.
Like they really hit all of the high notes here, I think.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Any final thoughts on The Boy?
I just want to tell everyone you should give it a shot. It's really fun.
Oh, and I think that it bears to say this is a PG-13 movie, and a lot of PG-13 thrillers I do not like. And what I liked about this one is that sometimes I feel like you're watching a PG-13 movie and you're seeing what they cut out to turn it from an R to a PG-13.
Yes.
Whereas with this one, I think what they're I don't think they're eliminating anything.
No.
But we don't have to deal with gratuitous nudity with male gaze.
Yep.
There's not a lot of violence in it.
No, there
in
really
general
isn't.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like they're taming anything down. I still feel like they're telling the story they want to tell.
Yes.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
And I approve. So this is a good PG-13 thriller.
Right.
Great for the whole family.
It is. Yeah. Get the kiddos.
Play it loud.
Yep.
So the ones in the walls can hear it.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Be considerate.
Yes. So as of this week, it's on Netflix. So watch The Boy.
Yep.
It's gothic.
It's gothic.
There we go.
It's a good time.
Well, thank you, we ghosties, for listening to us break down the walls and release The Boy. Please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We're now on Apple Podcasts, so rate and review us there. Drop us an email at sogothicpod@gmail.com with comments and suggestions for future films. And join us next time when we will celebrate the 30th anniversary of Candyman. Boo-bye.
Bye.